this thing on? Hello, wonderful people. How are you doing? It's good to see you, Kim. It's good to see you, Maxim.
Good to see you. Hi, how are you, everybody? I'm so excited today. Berlin is bright and sunny. Love it.
Hello, Nathaniel, hello, Kim, and hello, everyone, and welcome to the Productivity Conference. Productivity Conference, this is online event for you and your team to double, triple, quadruple, increase tenfold your personal and your organizational productivity. And this event is specifically designed for the software developers, technical leaders, and other modern professionals who don't want to miss out in the competition in AI era.
But first, who are we?
Hi, everyone. This is Kim. I'm a front-end developer at Tatu, and I'm also a full-time cat mom. And my cats are joining today's conference with me. They're sitting right next to me, and we are very excited about today's talks and discussion, especially me, because I really need to know how to boost my productivity. Living with pets, you know how distracting they can be, right? That's all from me for now. I would love to hand it over to Maxim.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Maxim Salnikov, based in Oslo, Norway. It's snowing again here. And here I work at Microsoft, where I lead our developer productivity business. Maybe I'm not the most productive person on the planet, and basically this is why I'm here together with everyone to learn to boost my personal productivity. What about you, Nathaniel?
Hey, folks. I am Nathaniel. I am a developer evangelist that's with you. I talk a lot and I write code, so my friends call me Chatterbox Coder. And if you haven't guessed by now, I'm a huge nerd. And because I'm a huge nerd with lots of hobbies, I'm always trying to find ways that I can make my workday more productive so I can spend more time building Lego Captain America shields. So I'm really excited to learn about how I can get more productive with my code writing. But more importantly, how I can get more productive so I can go on holiday to all of these amazing destinations where you folks are joining from. I love this map every time I see it, getting to see all of the places I've visited, places I want to visit, and it's so good to know there's an international community of developers joining with us. So thank you for joining wherever you are joining from.
During our conference, if you have questions for our speakers, please use Slido with the code 2728. Now repeat with me, 2728.
2728.
So the numbers represent our conference days. I hope that's easy to remember. So don't forget to send in your questions and we will make sure to ask our speakers after their talks. How about we try it right now to see how it works? So you can scan this QR code and let's take a moment of self-reflection and see how you would rate your productivity level. If you schedule your breaks and your lunch has timestamps, then you are totally a productive nerd. And if you meditate before tackling emails and have spreadsheets for your spreadsheets, then you can call yourself a productive guru. And if you're currently brainstorming idea while napping, I guess you can rate yourself as a productive sloth. And if you wave your wand and hope for the best, then you're probably a productive wizard. And if you have mastered the art of working from the couch and complete with snack, then you, my friend, is a totally productive couch potato. So take your time, be honest, and rate yourself, and we will share the result with you later on.
I am absolutely the productive wizard. Every time I come across a bug, I'm just like, debuggio! And hopefully, hope for the best.
Spreadsheet for my spreadsheets, this is my thing, so I'm guru. Yeah, and we'd like to start with some thanks. I want to say thank you to the companies that support our conference and our community. Focus Reactive, Cortex, kudos to you. This conference wouldn't be possible without these companies. And huge kudos and thanks to media partners as well.
All right. And we also want to thank the amazing Productivity Conference program committee members for the great program that they have put together. You see a familiar face there? Maxine, thank you. Also, thank you to Oleg, Inokenti, Stepan, and Mikhail Thank you so much for putting together this amazing content that brought us all here today.
And now we want you to take a photo of how, where, and what device you joined in the conference with and tweet it with the hashtag ProductivityConf. We'll be looking for your tweets. And because we will have a raffle later for multi-passes to Git Nation conferences and t-shirts from attendees who shared the photo with a hashtag. So take your phone out, snap a photo, and post it with a hashtag. All right, and here is mine, by the way. Me and the reason that I'm not so productive at home. All right, speaking about t-shirts. Hey, look how cool we are. Not gonna lie.
I love
one of
these
the coolest.
t-shirts. They are also really, really comfortable. Now, if you want a t-shirt or you want some yearly multi-pass subscriptions to Git Nation events, we will tell you how you can win those. And you can win those by tweeting with the hashtag. Let me quickly tell you about the Git Nation multi-pass because the t-shirts are cool, but the Git Nation multi-pass is also really awesome. You get remote access to all of the Git Nation conferences like React Summit, JS Nation, React Day Berlin, and many more, some that I go to and hope to see you there. And you can find out more about that on gitnation.com. And of the people who use the hashtag and tweet photos or tell us about their conference experience, we're going to pick 3 winners at random, and you will get t-shirts and you will even have a chance to win some Git Nation multi-passes. Now, there's going to be a lot going on, and you're going to need to keep track of all of the different things. So for the conference agenda and all of that information, go to the website at productivityconf.com/developers, and you can find everything you need there. But the conversation won't just be on that platform because we will also have live chat in Discord. So you can join our Discord server. The link is on the page now, and it's also on the page you're watching from somewhere. And then you can also use that to stay updated on the announcements. You can also talk to the speakers and attendees remotely. I'll be there as well. So drop your favorite emojis and tag me in them as well.
Yeah, and more on technicalities and logistics to be 100% productive. Here's a screenshot of what the navigation on the website looks like. Get familiar with this. The main screen has a video player that plays the live feed, and on the bottom we got a timeline of talks. Right under the video player you can see timeline with 2 tracks. Developer Tools track and Enhanced Productivity track. Here you can see what is live at the moment and what's coming up next.
You can also join discussion rooms tomorrow directly from this timeline as well. And if you lost at any point, no worry, just write us in troubleshooting channel on Discord, and we are there to help you out and make your conference experience awesome. And these are the discussion rooms that you can join tomorrow via Zoom. And 2 of my favorite topics at the moment, avoiding developer burnout. Those are going to be strategies for sustainable productivity and the next generation of AI IDEs. And we will discuss which one is more productive.
I can't decide which of those 2 discussion rooms is gonna have
neither.
more people, because like everyone's avoided burnout, but then also everyone has opinions on their best IDEs. So I am
Exactly.
really excited. But we will also have an extra workshop after the conference. Test, code, repeat, mastering AI assisted development, and it's going to be with Marco on April the 2nd. So if you are a full ticket holder or you're a multi-pass holder, like I talked about before, you can use this opportunity to join that workshop. And if you're not, maybe you should get a full ticket or a Git Nation multi-pass so you can join in and learn about testing, coding, and repeating.
And as always, we want everyone to feel safe and have a great time during our event. Of course, we have code of conduct. You can find it at gitnation.com/COC. Please go read it now or a bit later. And if at any time you feel there has been a violation, please email coc@gitnation.org and we'll take care of it right away. Your feedback is super important for us. It helps us keep making the event better and better. You can scan this QR code or use the link you see on the screen now. Please go and provide some words.
And we, together with the Git Nation team, who is the organizer of the conference, are wishing you A great day full of knowledge and fun. Now let's get started.
Super excited. Thank you to all of you folks in the background. Really, really appreciate you all. But now it's time for some amazing content. And we're going to kick off with our first speaker of the day. They are a senior research engineer at GitHub Next, and they design and build the next generation of developer tools such as GitHub Copilot. So I need to say a big thank you to this person. After work, they also work in open source. They're very passionate about maintaining and love functional programming, editor tooling, and developer experience, which is really useful because they create some of the tools that I use to have a great developer experience. So wherever you are, grab your keyboards, get some emojis ready, and leave a huge virtual round of applause for Christoph, who's going to be talking about building the next generation of AI developer tools. Give him a massive round of applause, folks. And Chris, the stage is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Krzysztof and I will be talking today about developer tools, AI, and how we use both of those to create the next generation of developer tools. And before going further, I need to tell you one thing. I'm not data scientist, I'm not machine learning specialist, I don't have PhD in maths or anything like that. I'm just software developer, as I imagine most of the people watching this talk today. And yeah, so it will not be talk about some deep understanding of AI or anything like that. I just don't have it. However, I will focus today a lot on user experience and hopefully some lessons that we've learned and you all can also use while building, maybe building your AI applications. Who am I? I used to be software developer, normal software engineer. I used to be independent consultant for many years of my life. In my spare time, as part of my open source night life, I was focusing a lot on developer experience and developer tools. And because of that, around 4 years ago, I've joined GitHub to work on this very secret project back then called GitHub Copilot. At GitHub, I work at GitHub Next. GitHub Next is part of the GitHub that's responsible for investigating the future of software development. We are a group of developers, researchers, user experience specialists, prototyping tools and technologies that push boundaries of what we've thought is possible. And we try to go where no one has gone before. Well, at least in the context of software developer tools. Our projects vary from creating familiar fonts designed specifically for developers to creating a prototype of new extendable user interface for GitHub to AI tools such as Copilot. But they have one common feature, all those projects. They're always about developer experience, developer productivity, and developer happiness. And today I'll talk about a couple of those tools, mostly focused on AI stuff because, well, that's the topic of the conference, right? And yes, to reiterate, this is the talk about what happens in the middle, how you design this application, how you build prototype. I will not be talking about models themselves. For sake of this presentation, we can treat models as the black box that does its magic. I'm also not going to talk about building the fully fledged product. Well, building those is difficult and it requires a lot of knowledge, not only about like user experience or artificial intelligence, but also about business strategy and so on, monitoring, observability and stuff. So I will not touch those parts of building real scalable product for millions of users. So let's start with talking a bit about history and the tools we all know and use and love. The first one that started it all, and I've mentioned it before, was GitHub Copilot. It was released in 2021 in in June or July, I believe. And I've been working on this project since February, I believe, 2021. And I can't even describe to you all how big shock it was, at least for me personally. I remember that when I was first contacted by Uge de Moor, who was leading Next back then, and he has shown me Copilot for the first time. As he described how it works, I responded with, "It cannot work. It's not possible." As I've mentioned, I've been working on a lot of developer tools in past, and I've been focusing. I spent years of my life building tools powered by compilers, statical analysis, especially for like statically typed functional programming languages, where correctness and type system is everything. And then you come to me and you tell me that, oh, it's using some AI, whatever it means, and we send to this black box a string as an input, and we get back string as an output, and it's supposed to be magic and works. My first reaction was that just cannot be. And yet, well, I joined the team. It was interesting challenge. And over a couple of months with very small team of, I think there was like 6 of us, 6 engineers, we moved from badly working internal prototype into technical preview that we presented to world. So let's talk a bit about it. Original Copilot has been designed in very, very extreme way. And I don't mean it in a bad way. We've done what most good projects do, like what most books or literature about new projects, startups, or user experience design will tell you to do. Focus on one thing and solve it really well. Copilot's original user interface, the inline suggestion, or ghost text, how we called it internally, has been designed with such one thing in mind: keeping developers in the state of flow while they code. It's about reducing context switching, it's about speeding you up, it's about automating boring parts of your work so you can focus more on interesting bits, building business domain, difficult algorithms, or whatever is the core value in your projects. We as developers are paid a lot of money for our ability to solve those difficult parts, not for typing some boring boilerplate code into editor. Those assumptions resulted, or those assumptions have been result of on the one hand, our belief of how AI coding tool should look like. We believed very much into helping users and speeding them up, and we still do to this day. On the other hand, it was also related to the state of the quality of large language models back then. You need to remember that Copilot was probably the first mainstream, very popular tool that was using large language models. This was before ChatGPT was a thing, and back then, in early 2021, quality of those models was not what we know and see today. So those assumptions about keeping you in flow and those limitations moved us towards particular vision of user experience. Suggestions are shown directly in editor. They are shown all the time as you type. You don't need to take any additional action to invoke them. Suggestions are based on implicit intent. You don't describe what you do. It's from what you are coding right now, the system will figure it out. You can very easily accept them with just single keystroke. And similarly, you can very easily reject them, again, with single keystroke or just by typing and going further. And suggestions are very clearly separated from the real code. This ghost text, gray text user interface is telling you or sending a message that this is just a suggestion and it may be wrong. And then a couple of years later, well, a year and a half later, something else has happened. Copilot Chat and similar chat tools exist mostly because of the one reason: the unimaginable success of ChatGPT. Back when it was released in the late 2022, no one, not OpenAI, not Microsoft, expected such a level of success. If you go to the first OpenAI announcement webpage, it's nothing special. It's just yet another model they built. They had so many of those announcements back in the days. It is announcement as a research preview, and the page talks about some sibling models that were also interested. So nothing special. And yet we are in the world with hundreds of millions of users later, and we clearly see how AI has become a mainstream topic. Non-technical people who have no idea about software or artificial intelligence starting using it every day. It caused crazy normalization of large language models as a technology, and also it created in society in general expectation that artificial intelligence tool is chat interface. I will come back to this point a bit later in the presentation, but this has been very impactful on what we've been doing. Just like I mentioned, that original Copilot user experience, this inline suggestion was an extreme. To a degree, chat interface is also an extreme, just on the other side of the scale. It is designed to take your attention. It moves you away from what you are doing right now to a separate window or to a separate panel in context of IDE. It solves quality of the response issue completely different than inline suggestions. In inline suggestions, when you see wrong response, you just ignore it, or you just keep coding. Here you iterate on it by asking follow-up questions or telling the model it's wrong and it should try something else. And inline suggestions have been very implicit. Chat is very explicit. You need to type into it what you want and what's your problem and kind of how we want to solve it. However, those things doesn't mean that the chat interface is bad interface. It's just good at different things. While inline suggestions are great at keeping user in flow, chat works great when flow doesn't exist at all. When you want to stop and to plan, or want you to learn something new, when you don't know what are the next steps. You can stop coding, you can iterate with chat on the solution and plan how to move forward. A lot of my friends are using chat as a brainstorming tool. It's a great user experience for that. I also wanted to stress that I put it on the slides, those like first generation and second generation terms. That doesn't really mean that one of those tools is better than another, or that one replaces another. It just merely means that they were created at different time, based on different assumptions. They can be used together. They just solve different use cases. And that's kind of, when we're moving slowly to the core of this presentation, as I've mentioned, those two user experiences are on the extreme sides of the same scale, the same axis. However, we still have this huge space in the middle, and that brings us to the next generation of tools, the tools that we are creating or are getting created today. And the space in the middle, I personally believe, is all about structured exchange. So as a developer, I know what I want to achieve. For example, implement a new feature or fix a bug described in a GitHub issue, or maybe create a new small application from scratch. And I want to do in streamlined way where the processes I should follow to move towards my goal are modeled. I don't need open-endedness and option to go anywhere that chat gives me, but I also don't want this very extreme, streamlined, implicit AI suggestions that are given by the ghost text. And over the last 18 months or so, we've built two different tools that fits this space. First one of those tools is Copilot Workspace. Copilot Workspace, if you haven't seen it yet, you should go to Google it and try it. It's a complex multi-step system that takes developer from issue or ad hoc task description to the ready pull request generated by the AI. However, instead of trying one-shot the problem in style of fully autonomous agents, we've seen such demos online, what Copilot Workspace is trying to do is attempting to replace, it's attempting to create this rich workflow that enables user control, feedback, and iteration at every step of the process. I will just describe more about what I mean. We start with brainstorming and suggestions on how given task can be approached. And then we move to high-level specification. Then we generate technical lower-level plan. And only then we move to the code implementation. And after that, we can also run and validate the changes. Every step of this process is user controlled. User can see what's going on and can make changes to proposed, for example, plan. Users can iterate together with AI and accept every proposal, every offering from it. At the same time, it's not just very loose and open-ended like chat. We still have this very well-modeled workflow. At its core, it's very similar to normal application design and normal user experience design. We need to model user processes. That's what we do, creating applications. Especially the more complex is our system, the less chance there is that we will achieve appropriate results leaving artificial intelligence to its own devices. Those large language models are very powerful, and part of their magic is how general they are. They seem to be capable of performing any task, but users in our applications doesn't want to perform any tasks. They are interested in performing their particular task. So we need to understand how they move forward to achieve it. And then user experiences of our applications should model that and fulfill the role of moving people forward towards end goal. This time just with help of the AI. The second product that we've created is GitHub Spark. It's a tool that takes you from idea described in single sentence to working micro application running in the browser. The tool was not designed to be a replacement for developers or to build fully fledged big applications. Instead, we try to lower the barrier of entry to just create small fun things you or your maybe non-developer friends always wanted to build, but they never had time or skills to. Stuff like an app for tracking a weekly karaoke night, or maybe small allowance tracker for kids, things like that. The core principle of Spark is focusing on active creation. We don't want users to focus on code. In fact, I believe that the code is, by default, it's hidden. There is no code in this view that by default that I'm showing to you. You need to press the button to see it. Instead, we give users tools to iterate. We put application preview as a main point. We give users ability to change application, both with AI, but also with tools like theming support or data browser. So what have we learned building those two projects? They are, on the one hand, they're very different projects, but they have some common aspects and common themes that we've noticed while building those. First one is, well, the most important one is we always should design applications with user in mind, with human in mind. We need to think about enhancing user capabilities rather than replacing users. This AI tool should be directly integrated with inner development loop. So it shouldn't be some weird separate chat window or anything like that. It should be living very close to the task that you are performing. We need to model the workflows and processes that users have. It's core idea of building any good applications. And we need to have a low cost in terms of like how many actions you need to take of wrong suggestions. Those models are awesome. They're getting better and better, but they will always be sometimes wrong. Those are probabilistic systems, and by design, sometimes they will be wrong. We need to design defensively for failure. So the wrong suggestions or any suggestion should be easy to ignore, easy to retry, easy to iterate, or easy to modify. And those four principles, they can be implemented with different user experiences. I've previously discussed how both inline suggestions and chat user experience are very extreme approaches, very completely different approaches, but both of them, they follow those principles. We also learned, and this is a very important lesson, we learned that most tasks are ambiguous. It's very easy to create nice looking demo of autonomous AI agent that implements some kind of hello world feature without any human input. However, it turns out we've learned that especially from the corporate workspace, that vast majority of real-world software tasks are highly ambiguous. They need extensive research, they need clarification, refinements, corrections, explorations. It applies all the way through the completion of the task, from the very first point of the start to validating the changes. Many tasks are actually the form of exploration. This is another thing we've noticed. And because of this, real-world tasks need constant human guidance, adjustments, and so on, all the way through the process. Like, we cannot leave process of building software to the fully autonomous agents. And that brings me to probably the core point of this presentation. We've coined internally this concept of co-agents. So agents are usually, AI agents are usually implemented as a loop, which calls AI over and over again while performing some tasks, while getting its context, its internal knowledge updated. With co-agents, we want to make sure that the human is also part of this process and can take actions to steer agent behavior. Co-agent is controllable, guidable, cooperative, unfolding of the reasoning and decision points of the agents. It shouldn't offer more than a human can digest and understand in a single step. So it shouldn't, you shouldn't have suddenly on your screen hundreds of lines of whatever output. It should be short and understandable by you. Every significant offering from a co-agent should be editable, and those edits apply to the downstream offerings. That means that if you have one co-agent and then another co-agent depends on the output of your earlier co-agent, if you edit output of the first co-agent, the changes should be updated. And the system using co-agents should attempt to maintain the integrity of the offerings while the input is changed by the user. Again, Copilot Workspace is a great example of the philosophy, but I don't really have more time to go into details of that. Probably last thing I've learned is that we should move past using chat for everything. ChatGPT created this expectation that I've mentioned, this expectation that chat is AI and AI is a chat. However, we can go past that. There are different approaches, and we shouldn't be afraid to experiment, either as a users or as developers trying to build software. Let's quickly peek into the future, and those are just ideas. Like, those are don't quote me on that, or don't tell anyone on Twitter that this is coming in next 5 months or anything like that. No, those are just random ideas that we had. So one of the ideas is having this like bi-directional editing experience. So you can imagine that in your IDE, next to every function that you have in your IDE, on the right-hand side, you use the natural language description of it. And when you edit the code, description updates. But also, it would be really cool if we could update the description and then see the code changing. Idea. Taking that further, maybe we can go from full-blown specification in natural language into app develop into fully fledged application. And then when we edit code of this application, we get back changes to the specification. Who knows? There's also the huge space currently that's not explored at all. As we know from years and years and decades of research about software engineering, software developers spend 80% of their time while not coding, but looking at requirements, trying to understand things, trying to understand code base, and so on. Currently, AI tools are great at optimizing how productive you are in the context of writing code and writing more code and more code. However, there is this huge space of whether we should that to explore research and explore understanding of the code bases. And also we need to remember that we are still very early in the days of AI-powered developer tools. It's been 4 years since original Copilot, slightly less than 4 years. We still don't know exactly what is actually sticking on the market. Right now, in 2025, there is huge boom on AI agents preferably fully autonomous AI agents. We have no idea if those are actually productive and making developers productive. So let's remember that there is still huge adventure in front of us. And then bit over time, but this is the slide that I always put on any presentation that I do about AI. When your boss, your CEO, your manager, whoever comes to you and asks you to build some AI-powered feature because, our competition is doing AI features, it should be also your responsibility to think and to ask them about, should we do it? AI tools are very powerful, especially those autonomous AI agents are getting kind of like, some of those demos are ridiculous. But you should always think about human in mind. Do you need 100% accuracy in your tools? Then probably any usage of AI is terrible idea. Probably today there are people using ChatGPT to doing their tax returns. This is probably crazy idea. Like, don't do that. There are probably people that some middle managers that try to convince someone to build some financial app, to add AI to some financial apps. Please don't do that. I wouldn't use your application. There have been this example of huge drama where someone who has built the web page that helped you to connect online to mental health specialists. And they suddenly started to replace some of those mental health specialists with AI under the hood, not telling users. This is not ethical at all. You shouldn't do that. So when your boss comes to the room and asks you to do AI, because everyone is doing AI, please think very hard whether you should really do that. And that's all. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.